Hello, friends. Welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey, back with, well, you guessed it, the latest news and rumors on the Minnesota Vikings. We'll begin with the bad news. Adam Thielen's season is over. He underwent ankle surgery on Tuesday. I'm actually a little bit surprised how quickly this has changed since he went from being able to return to action, re-injuring it, coming back in the game, leaving, and then it kind of seemed like trying to play through it on the sidelines, and now Tuesday, it comes announced on Wednesday, actually his season's over. He had the ankle surgery and thus ends a disappointing season for Thielen based on his own expectations. For many receivers, you catch 10 touchdown passes on 67 total catches for 726 yards. That's actually kind of like a good year. Like, a lot of receivers would take that. But for Thielen, but for Minnesota specifically, I don't think there's any way around it. That is a disappointing end result statistically, and for the way the year went down, to suffer the ankle injury, try to come back, try to gut through it, and then end up coming short as the Vikings near a final playoff push opportunity. I think disappointing is a good word to describe the injury and much of the season so far for the Vikings overall. So you can expect, and not expect, you will know, a heavy workload for Justin Jefferson. KJ Osborne on the bright side has been a nice little surprise for Minnesota. It's been a good breakout year for the young wide receiver. We all thought it was going to be Irv Smith. Well, the number 3 pass rusher ended up being a receiver in Osborne when Smith himself got hurt. D.D. Westbrook now steps up as the number 3 receiver. He maybe wasn't as good as hoped when signed, but he's been a nice depth piece for them. Maybe Amir Smith-Marset, the young playmaker out of Iowa, gets a chance to do some damage, especially if the Vikings are eliminated come Week 18 or have no real shot. They won't technically be eliminated, I don't think, but who knows? Weird stuff happens. The Vikings' playoff picture is kind of like the looming overview right now, the number one thing around this organization and potentially getting Mike Zimmer fired if they miss it. So will the Vikings make the playoffs this year? Type in 1 for yes or type in 0 for no. I don't feel good about it. I'm sorry. You really had a shot, it seemed like, against the Rams. You couldn't pull it out despite a bunch of Matt Stafford interceptions. Going to beat the Packers on the road in Lambeau. I hope it happens, don't get me wrong, but I feel it's a very unlikely scenario that Minnesota finds a way to sweep Green Bay. If they do, awesome. They probably will make the postseason. Otherwise, probably not. All right, good news now before we get to the just absolutely wild off-season planity by ESPN I can't wait to dive into. Dalvin Cook activated from the COVID-19 list. The NFL's new rules actually really benefited Cook here. For those of you that don't know, they're following the new CDC guidelines that say, hey, after 5 days, yeah, you're fine. Come on back. Go ahead and play football. No big deal there, even if you're unvaccinated. So Cook will play, and the Vikings will need him as they try to make that playoff push. Cook has been good this year, maybe probably bordering on great. I think we've seen a better Dalvin Cook, but by no means has he been bad this year. I think we're hoping for just a little bit more out of Cook, and I think there's some extenuating circumstances involved there. Injury is certainly one of them, but he's over 1,000 yards. Again, there's no doubt he is one of the premier backs in the NFL. So it's Vikings, Packers, primetime football, which normally means bad things for Kirk Cousins. But I want you guys to predict the score for me of the Vikings against the Packers this week. Let me know who you got winning and the score in the comments section. And whichever way you're going, put your money where your mouth is by betting on or against Minnesota with our sportsbook partner. It's BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. That is promo code CHAT125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. That way, if you bet on or against and you win, cool. You got all this extra money too. And if you lose, it's okay. You got the deposit bonus backing you up. Don't bet all of it at one time. Bet $5, $10, $15 at a time. And that way you hit a couple bets and now you got some money. It's a good idea. Go have some extra fun watching football by betting on it. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is CHAT 125. All right, ESPN had a kind of fun but also crazy off-season plan for Minnesota based on, Rodgers goes here and Wilson goes there, different little scenarios. The Vikings side of it was this, and I'll break it down in the steps listed by ESPN. Step number 1, you trade Kirk Cousins to Philadelphia. We'll get to the details on that in a little bit. They got a first-round pick, though, so nice. Step number 2, a reunion. Teddy Bridgewater comes back to Minnesota since there would just be Kellen Moore really on the roster. Step 3, which is not really the order you have to make these moves, but fire Mike Zimmer, hire Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. And then my step 4, profit. Does this work? It's an interesting idea, and I think it kind of borders on crazy with the trade involved as well. We're going to break down the little nitty-gritty pieces here, but first, of that plan, do you like the ESPN idea? Let me know what you guys have to say in the comment section. Why for yes, you like it, and for no, you do not. All right, the trade. And I think you got to do this if you're Minnesota, if you don't believe in Kirk Cousins. You get a first-round pick. Philly, of all teams, the Eagles, get Kirk Cousins and a third-round pick. So it's not a true first-round value, but you're trading a pick in the 70s, 80s, whatever it ends up being, for a top 25 pick, and you give Kirk Cousins, I say do it. Unless you fully believe Cousins is your guy long term. Because if you do, then you got to play around with this contract again. He is entering this upcoming season the last year of his contract. He carries a $45 million cap hit. I don't think you really want Kirk Cousins to play on that level of cap hit. Now, you can't cut him. You save $0. Now, you can get really creative and add a fake year to take some of the money down the road for you, but it's just kind of, you got to rip the Band-Aid off or not, right? You trade him, though, you save $35 million. So if Philly, which I don't know why they would do it, were to give you a first-rounder to take on Kirk Cousins, I say do it. Now, the problem you run into is Kellen Moore the guy? Or is Kellen Mond? Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself there. Is Kellen Mond the guy? Too many Kellens, I guess. I don't really think so. You're probably not going to see him at all this year, which maybe makes things a little bit nervous from that perspective, which is why I think it makes some sense to bring in one of the better veteran quarterbacks who will be available in the offseason, in Teddy Bridgewater. A reunion in Minnesota. Some of you might love it. Some of you might end up hating it. He's been fine. He is what he is. He's a short passing guy, not great downfield, but he's at least a great safety net for Kellen Mond if he's not the guy. And then maybe you take that first-round pick, trade it again in the future, and get an early quarterback next year. The other part of this, which I found interesting, was the hiring of Kellen Moore. Now, he is viewed by the NFL as a top or near-top head coaching option. Because what do we know about the NFL? They love young, innovative offensive guys like a Kevin Stefanski, for example. I do wonder, though, if Kellen Moore is ready to be an NFL head coach. But it's going to make for some interesting developments as Minnesota moves into the offseason. How do they handle the head coach? How do they handle the quarterback situation? That is going to be a unique and interesting one for the Vikings as they move forward into the offseason. Now, if you guys want more Vikings videos all season long, then subscribe. You've come to the right spot. We've got free videos for you on Vikings news, rumors, and we'll probably do some more Mike Zimmer hot seat and coach candidates in a little bit. Hit that big red button and subscribe. One final note, also from ESPN's Bill Barnwell, so we're 2 for 2 on that one here. He went through and ranked 7 potential job openings this offseason, and he had the Vikings at number 1. And I don't know if I agree with that. The roster talent is pretty solid. I think ownership's patient. They got a decent, maybe GM. But also, what are you doing with your quarterback? Isn't that a pretty big negative, not a con? Here were his top 7 of the jobs that could have come up. No Seattle, by the way. Minnesota, Denver, Jacksonville. Then Carolina, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Houston. A little surprised he was so low on Las Vegas, and especially Chicago, since they have Justin Fields. I think the roster is definitely better in Minnesota, plus draft capital. It's an interesting development. So I want you guys to be honest with the final question of today's video. How and where would you rank the Vikings' job among those possible head coach openings? It's definitely not number 7. That's definitely Houston, no doubt about it. But is it really 1? I want you to be honest with me in the comments, so head down there and let me know.